All right, let's talk about NVIDIA, because they didn't just beat expectations in their latest report, they absolutely obliterated them. We are talking about a truly historic set of numbers that's sending shockwaves through the entire tech industry. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into the staggering figures and, more importantly, figure out what they mean for the future of AI.
Okay, before we dive in, just the usual quick heads up. This is all for educational purposes. It is not financial advice, so please always do your own research before making any investment decisions. All right, let's get to it. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the jaw-dropping numbers themselves. Then we'll peel back the layers to see what's really going on, the AI infrastructure story. After that, we'll look at why demand is actually accelerating, how that's fueling the whole market, and wrap up with the case for where things could go from here. All right, Section 1, let's dive right into the facts, because NVIDIA's latest quarterly results, well, they're nothing short of staggering. So the big headline number, the one that just blew everyone away, $68.13 billion for a single quarter. You know, this wasn't just a little beat. It absolutely sailed past what anyone was expecting. And when you look under the hood, the growth is just explosive. I mean, look at this. Revenue is up 73% year over year. Net income, that's soared by 94%. But the real story, the secret sauce, is right there in that last line. The data center business grew by a whopping 75%. That right there is the engine driving this whole machine. And just to be clear, this wasn't some lucky one-off quarter. For the entire fiscal year, NVIDIA pulled in almost $216 billion in revenue. Think about that. That's a 65% jump from the year before. A growth rate like that for a company this size, it just leaves pretty much every other tech giant in the dust.
Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial point. If you want to understand these insane numbers, you have to kind of shift your thinking. We need to stop seeing NVIDIA as just a graphics card company for gamers. That's the old story. The new story, the real story, is all about AI infrastructure.
I mean, this chart really says it all, doesn't it? The data center segment, that's now more than 90% of their total sales. The gaming business we used to know them for is just a tiny sliver of the pie now. The entire business has pivoted to building the fundamental foundation for the AI revolution.
So what do we even mean by AI infrastructure? Well, of course, it starts with those super powerful GPUs that are essential for training AI models. But it's so much more than that. It's also the crazy fast networking hardware. You hear names like NVLink and InfiniBand that allows thousands of these GPUs to talk to each other and work together as one giant brain. See, they're not just selling you the parts, they're selling the whole assembly line for creating AI.
Okay, but here's where the story goes from impressive to truly mind-boggling. You'd think growth this big would have to slow down, right? Well, it's not. In fact, it's actually speeding up.
So, let's just walk through this. First, you have the total revenue growth we already talked about, a massive 73% year over year, which, for a company this size, is already unbelievable.
But then you zoom in on their core business, the data center, and its growth is even faster, at 75%.
And here is the knockout punch. Their forecast for the next quarter, it points to around 77% growth. That is acceleration. For a company of this scale to actually get faster is, well, it's almost unheard of. It's a clear signal that we're seeing a tidal wave of compounding demand.
You know, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, he put it perfectly. He said the world's demand for compute is just off the charts. And you have to understand this isn't just some corporate slogan. It's backed up by massive, sustained investment from pretty much everyone, companies, governments, and all the huge cloud providers.
So, why does one company's earnings report matter so much to the entire market? Well, that's because NVIDIA's success creates this incredibly powerful ripple effect.
Here's basically how it works, right? Step 1. NVIDIA completely crushes their earnings. Step 2. This serves as proof that the AI boom isn't just hype, it's real and it's growing. Step 3. That boosts investor confidence across the board. And the result? It lifts the entire tech sector because a rising tide lifts all boats, and NVIDIA is the tide right now.
This is exactly why you'll hear analysts call NVIDIA a bellwether for the entire AI industry. And all that means is that they're seen as an indicator, a predictor of future trends. The thinking is, wherever NVIDIA's sales are heading, the rest of the AI market is probably going to follow.
Maybe think of it like this. NVIDIA sells the hardware backbone,
the engine for everything that's happening in AI right now. Generative AI, large language models, the next wave of cloud computing, they're all powered by this hardware. So when that engine is firing on all cylinders like it is now, that's a really, really strong signal about the health of the entire AI economy.
All right, so let's wrap this up by looking ahead. Based on everything we've seen, these results, this incredible demand, what does the bull case for NVIDIA look like going forward?
Well, the optimistic case, the bull thesis, really rests on a few key pillars. First, just continued strong demand as these AI data centers get built out all over the world. Second, their relentless pace of innovation. There are always new, more powerful chips just around the corner, and that helps protect their amazing profit margins. And finally, they're deepening their partnerships with literally every major tech player on the planet because they all need this hardware to stay in the game.
And this really brings us to the big central question, doesn't it? With the demand for AI compute compounding at this unbelievable rate, it's not a question of if this tech revolution is going to happen anymore. The real question is, who is going to build the infrastructure to power it all? And right now, based on these numbers, it looks like NVIDIA has a very, very powerful answer to that question.
Hey, if you enjoyed this explainer and got something out of it, we'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for tuning in.